Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here, and welcome back to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we are continuing our series of countdown videos for each one of the ninjas' individual battles by taking a look at the top 5 Lloyd battles. Now, of course, a few disclaimers before we go ahead and get started into my countdown. For one, this is all just going to be in my own opinion. Your list of top 5 Lloyd battles will very much differ from my list in an extremely heavy manner, most likely. So don't get too bent out of shape with my choices. These are just my own opinions, nothing more, nothing less. After the video is done, feel free to go ahead and list your own top 5 Lloyd battles down below in the comments. And for another disclaimer, I won't be including big team-up battles on this list, just individual battles belonging to Lloyd, just like how we did with the other ninja. Big team-up battles like the final battle of Season 4, for example, will not be included on this list, despite the role that Lloyd played in that battle. These are just individual one-on-one or even one-on-two battles belonging to Lloyd, and if there's an ally here and there in the battle, well, that still counts in my opinion. And just another disclaimer, unlike the other videos that I've done for the ninja in their top 5 battles, this list was extremely difficult for me to put together. Honestly, any of these 5 could be my favorite. It was really hard trying to organize all of these into an actual worst to best scenario. So yeah, consider that as you watch the video. Any of these could have been my number one easy, just because I love all of these battles. And naturally, since it's Lloyd, there were a lot of battles to choose from. But let's go ahead and not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get started by talking about the number 5 spot. So for number 5 on my list, we have Lloyd versus Morrow. Now this battle took place pretty much in the finale of Season 5, when the Preeminent had pretty much taken over the City of Styx, and Lloyd suddenly appeared from the Cursed Realm wearing his father's robes, which was a pretty good start to the battle, all things considered. It was really cool to see Lloyd don some actual sensei gear, and with that he actually goes ahead and grabs the Sword of Sanctuary and proceeds to fight Morrow, who is armed with the Realm Crystal. Now what a lot of people, including myself, really enjoy about this battle is just how diverse it is in terms of landscape. With the Realm Crystal in Morrow's possession, he actually goes ahead and takes Lloyd pretty much on a tour throughout most of the 16 realms. In fact, it's mentioned that he saw a lot of different realms, but we only saw a couple as an audience. Lloyd and Morrow pretty much fought throughout several different realms, and it was really cool to see all the different realms that we had come to know throughout Ninjago's history. It was cool to see them all back, and the actual fight itself was pretty cool as well. Lloyd, armed with the Sword of Sanctuary, was a pretty good match in my opinion, and of course he also was equipped with his elemental power of energy, just like Morrow was equipped with his elemental power of wind. Unfortunately, the battle kind of ended on a little bit of a weak note in my opinion. Lloyd just kind of got lost in one of the realms, and he was not able to, I guess, assist during the actual final battle of Season 5, and Morrow kind of got away like that. But they did get Lloyd back at the end of the season, but the battle, in my opinion, had a pretty weak ending, and that's the only reason why it's at the bottom of the list. I still really much enjoy this battle, and I adore the idea of them traveling through different realms while fighting. It was actually really cool seeing them travel through Chima, despite how I feel about that show and that theme, but it was still really cool to see them acknowledge that they exist. So that was kind of cool, and it was also cool to see the other realms, and that's pretty much the highlight of this fight for me. So that's why it's in the number 5 spot. Next up in the number 4 spot, we actually have the final battle of Season 9, which of course is Lloyd and Wu versus Garmadon. Now, of course, that title might be a little misleading, as Master Wu, or at least young Master Wu, is only in the battle for a brief segment towards the beginning. It quickly falls into a rematch of Lloyd versus Garmadon that was left over from Season 8. Now, naturally, in this fight, Lloyd does not have any powers, but he is equipped with the Dragon Bone Blade, which of course will be used to combat Garmadon's Darkness Blades, which he is fully powered up at this point. Garmadon is extremely scary in this battle because, of course, he is fully powered and Lloyd does not have any power. Unfortunately for Garmadon, that balance of power would soon shift, as Lloyd pretty much comes up with a strategy of, famously, I can't fight you, but I can resist you. And Garmadon goes ahead and gets defeated by that strategy. At the end of the battle, Lloyd receives his elemental power back and Garmadon loses his, restoring the balance once again, because, of course, Garmadon's power is fueled by fighting, and as there isn't really a fight going on, I have a feeling that's why Garmadon went ahead and lost his power. Of course, that might be, I guess, the weakness of this battle to some people, is that it ends with not really a real fight, but it is kind of a nice callback to earlier when Sensei Garmadon was trying to promote the same style of fighting. So it was kind of like a reversal situation there, and that's something that I really enjoyed. Naturally, though, Lloyd versus Garmadon is always going to be a really emotional thing, especially with this new incarnation of Garmadon, which is just purely evil with hardly any good left over. Of course, that would soon change when March of the Oni rolled around, but in this battle, it was pretty much all about Lloyd trying to go ahead and defeat his father in his most evil form. Again, my only real complaint with this battle is that young Master Wu isn't in this as much, and for that I kind of hesitate to call it Lloyd and Wu versus Garmadon, but regardless, I thought it was a pretty interesting fight nonetheless, and it's definitely one worth remembering, and that's why it's in the number 4 spot on this list. Next up in number 3, we actually have one from Prime Empire, that is Lloyd versus Avatar Harumi. Now, of course, the Season 13, Season 12, Season 11 storyline, they all have really unique fight scenes, and they all are kind of getting more dynamic as they go along. For example, Season 13 has one of my favorite fight scenes of all time, but a sort of prelude to that was found in this battle here, when Lloyd takes on Avatar Harumi. Now, of course, being in the digital realm of Prime Empire, it's pretty much impossible for anyone to be physically hurt here, but Lloyd can definitely be emotionally hurt, and that's actually where a lot of this battle shines for me. Of course, Lloyd still has a thing for Harumi, but Harumi is since long past in the real world, but this new Avatar version of Harumi kind of hints that she might be the actual Harumi, and that kind of gets Lloyd invested a little bit. There is a brief moment in this battle where he does kind of, I guess, pause and try to figure out if it is Harumi or not. He comes to the conclusion that it obviously is just an avatar and it's not actually the real Harumi. But regardless, the actual battle itself was physically enjoyable to watch. The actual swordplay here is really, really great, and just overall the animation being more fluid with this new studio definitely helps battles like these become more dynamic and more fun to watch. This battle between Lloyd and Avatar Harumi kind of has the same vibe going for it as Cole versus the Skull Sorcerer in Season 13. In my opinion, these two fights are really similar, and obviously I love the Cole versus Skull Sorcerer fight, so naturally I would go to appreciate this battle first. This battle again came first. It was kind of a prelude to that battle there, but this battle itself was really enjoyable to watch once again. Of course, the battle ends with both of them kind of defeating each other, but the actual tension was built up in this battle through the actual live counter being brought down and down more and more as more hits started landing on Lloyd and Harumi respectively. Both of them put up a really good fight against each other, and they were pretty evenly matched all things considered, as they were both defeated at the same time at the end of the fight. But just overall, I really enjoyed this battle just because of the emotional trauma it put onto Lloyd and how he kind of had to stop midway and kind of ask himself, wait, is this Harumi or is this not Harumi? It shows that he still isn't over her, which is something that I can always appreciate. Lloyd's character keeps on growing with traits like that, and that's something that I absolutely love. But in addition, this battle also had great action, so naturally it's going to take a spot on this list, and I went ahead and gave it the number 3 spot. Next up on the list in the number 2 spot, we have Lloyd versus Garmadon from the second to last episode of Sons of Garmadon. This battle was pretty much fueled by Lloyd's blind rage, and that's part of the reason why he lost this battle. Yes, this battle pretty much ends in Lloyd being completely obliterated, but in a way it was really fun to see him combat his father in his most evil form. Once again, to reiterate, Garmadon came back purely evil without a drop of goodness in him, and this is pretty much when he was fresh off of his revival, so naturally he's going to be the most powerful here as he's pretty much brand new. Lloyd, of course, was not really prepared for this at all, and this battle is actually the reason why Lloyd went ahead and lost his power. Naturally, the fight that we talked about earlier restored Lloyd's power. This is the one that made him lose it, and rightfully so. I mean, in my opinion, Lloyd was not right to take on Garmadon in this scenario whatsoever. Garmadon is an extremely powerful being, and this battle absolutely shows that. Lloyd was not capable of taking him on, and Garmadon fully was not capable of accepting that this is his son. And that's something that actually hit me pretty hard during this battle when Garmadon tells Lloyd that he has no son and just throws him away like he's nothing. It shows that this version of Garmadon is not to be messed with, and it shows that this is not the same character that we have known throughout the several past seasons of Ninjago. And of course, Lloyd finally recognized this. Of course, it was kind of a rude awakening for Lloyd, but in a way, he finally realized that he can't really treat this like his father because it's not his father. But nevertheless, in terms of actual action, this battle pretty much has it all. Lloyd and Garmadon pretty much face off against each other with all they got, and while it might have seemed like a landslide victory for Garmadon, in a way it kind of set up for the battle that we previously talked about on this list. So all things considered, Lloyd versus Garmadon, while it might have been a pretty bad defeat for Lloyd, it was still a good teaching moment and an emotional moment at that. So that's why it's in the number 2 spot. If you guys know me, you knew that this was coming, and I really did not want to put this in the number 1 spot because of just how much I stressed that I love this battle. But in preparation for this video, obviously I went ahead and rewatched all these battles, and this one still hits me harder than the others, and that's why in the number 1 spot we have Lloyd versus the Overlord from the final battle of Season 2. This is what Ninjago is pretty much building up to throughout the entire first couple of seasons, and in a way this was the big conclusion of the first era of Ninjago. This battle pretty much had everything riding on it, and in my opinion it delivers. Looking back on it now, it might not have been the best battle. I feel like other fights on this list absolutely carry on the physical nature of fighting a lot better than this one does. I mean, yeah, there are a few punches and kicks thrown throughout this battle, but at the end of the day, it's a golden ninja versus a dragon. How physical can that be? That's more spiritual than anything, and this battle absolutely proves that spiritual combat, in a way, is actually more effective than physical combat. Lloyd unlocks his golden power here and becomes the ultimate spinjitzu master, easily overpowering the Overlord. There is a few instances in there where he kind of struggles and you kind of question to yourself, oh, is Lloyd okay? Is he going to lose this battle? But he's fine. Naturally, at the end of the battle, he goes ahead and defeats the Overlord, and all is right in Ninjago. This battle is extremely nostalgic to me for many reasons, and I have a feeling a lot of people know why I put it in the #1 spot, and it's just because still after all these years, this battle instantly makes me go ahead and have those nostalgic feelings and lures me in just like it always had. I remember way back when I first watched this battle, I was absolutely hooked. I was insanely invested in this fight because I was a very huge Ninjago fan back when I was 12, 13 years old. Of course, I still am now, but back then, Ninjago was my life. It was everything that I was looking forward to, and this battle pretty much summarized everything that I felt about Ninjago throughout the first couple years of this theme being a thing. Overall, I really did not want to go ahead and be that stereotypical person and put Lloyd versus Overlord in the #1 spot, but I just had to for the sake of this video, guys. It's too good, and rewatching it again, it still lures me in just like it did way back then. So that's why in the #1 spot, I'm going to go ahead and put Lloyd versus Overlord, otherwise known as the final battle. So thanks a lot for watching this video, guys. Of course, now it's your turn. Feel free to go ahead and list down below in the comments what your favorite Lloyd battles are. You can go ahead and leave your top 5, top 10, whatever works. Lloyd has a lot of choices for battles, so feel free to go ahead and fill up that comment section down below with anything that you want, and also feel free to talk about what you thought of the video and what do you think of my list. Were you expecting Lloyd versus Overlord to be the #1? I am willing to bet that a lot of you did. Feel free to go ahead and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and be sure to subscribe and comment, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video once again. My name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.